One wet and rainy day on the island of Sodor, Boko was called to help an engine who crashed at the bridge where Gordon and Henry had an encounter with a cow. Soon, Boko found the engine. She was there laying on her side. As the engine was put back on the rails, Boko took her to the works. There, Sir Tom Hat came to see her. "Hello there, what's your name?" he asked. The engine looked at him and said, I'm Susan, sir." Sir Tom Hat smiled. "Well, it's nice to meet you, Susan. I'm Sir Topham Hatt, head of the railway." "It's nice to meet you, sir," said Susan happily. "Now, where do you come from?" he asked. Susan looked at him and said sadly, I used to be on an heritage railway, but my owner was mean and never took care of me. Then one day, he said that he was going to scrap me. I didn't want to be scrapped, sir, so I ran away." Sir Tom Hat pondered. I see. "Well, don't worry about a thing, Susan. I'll call your owner and buy you. You look like a very useful engine, and I need an engine to help with a new branch line that 2 of my other engines are working on." Well, Susan smiled happily. "Oh, thank you, sir," said Susan. After she was fixed, she set off for her first job on the island. She was to bring cars from Will's and Emily's branch line to the quarry. At the branch line, Will and Emily were waiting for the new engine to arrive. "I wonder who the new engine is?" asked Will to Emily. "I'm not sure, Will." "But I hope that she's a nice engine." "I hope so too, Emily," said Will. Just then, they heard a whistle. "That must be the new engine," said Emily. "I know that whistle. Can it really be her?" Before Emily could say anything, the engine arrived, and when she saw Will, she could only smile. "Well, hello, Will. Long time no see." Will beamed. "Susan! I can't believe it's you!" "Well, believe it, Will," said Susan. Then she looked at Emily. "And what is your name?" "I'm Emily. It's nice to meet you, Susan," said Emily. Susan chuckled and looked at Will. Well. It looks like you found yourself a girlfriend." After hearing that, Will blushed. "Oh no, Susan. Emily and I are just friends." "Oh, okay, Will, whatever you say," said Susan. "Well, I better be off. I don't want to be late for my first job here." And with that, Susan gathered up her cars and set off for the quarry. Emily looked at Will after Susan left, and he looked sad. "What is wrong, Will?" Will looked at his friend and said, "It's good to see her again, Emily, but what should I say? What should I tell her about Abigail? I mean, they were like sisters, and now she's gone. It's gonna break her heart." "I'm sure she'll understand, Will," said Emily, trying to cheer up her friend. "I hope so," said Will sadly. That night, Will was in the shed with Emily when he saw Susan puffing up to the empty shed right next to him. "Hello again, Will." Hello, Susan," Will said sadly. Susan looked worried and said to him, "What's wrong, Will? You look down." Will looked at Susan and said, "Susan, there's something I need to tell you. It's about Abigail." Susan looked sadly at Will and said, "Well, you don't have to say anything. I know what happened to her." "You do?" "Yes, and I'm so sorry, Will. I know you loved her, and I loved her like a sister. But don't worry, her memory will live on through us. Will smiled at this, and then the two engines went happily to sleep together. The next day, Susan was to take some cars to the docks, but the cars were comfortable and didn't want to move. What right does she have to pour her funnel in here? Yeah, we want Will, they complained. Or Emily, you silly cars, puffed Susan. Hey, that's not the way to speak, hissed the cars. We'll get even. Just before Susan had to leave, Will puffed in. Do you want some help, Susan? No thanks, Will. I've got this. Will was worried. Okay, but be careful. Don't worry, Will. I'll be fine. I know how to handle freight cars. Remember, I'm the one that taught you, remember? Will smiled at the remembrance. Of course I do. I was a young engine back then. And naive. Yeah. Well, be careful and good luck. I will. And with that, Susan puffed away. As Susan puffed along with the cars, she was still thinking if she was going to stay here or not. She was thinking about this so much that she didn't realize that the cars began getting ready to make their plan to push her. When Susan was getting close to the docks, she felt the cars pushing her. Her driver applied the brakes, but they were useless against the surging cars. On, yelled the cars. Susan fought hard, but still they forced her on and on. At last, she felt the cars growing tired. I'm winning, gasped Susan. But it was too late. Susan hit the buffers and plunged into the waters below. Salty, the dockside diesel, saw this and looked at Susan. Are you alright there, miss? Salty said. Susan looked up and said to Salty, Please, help me, please. Don't worry there, me hearty. I'll get you help. And with that, Salty puffed away, leaving Susan thinking of what Sir Topham Hatt would say. Soon, Will arrived with Rocky, the crane, and Sir Topham Hatt. Will looked down at Susan. Are you alright, Susan? Yes, Will, I'm alright. Don't worry, Susan, I'll get you out. After she was back on the rails, Sir Topham Hatt looked at Susan. I'm sorry, sir. I guess I'm going to be sent to the scrapyard, huh? After hearing that, Sir Topham Hatt laughed. No, Susan. You are my engine now. What? Really, sir? She gasped Susan. Yes, you are now a Northwestern engine. Susan was so happy, she thought her boiler would burst. As Will took Susan to the steamworks, Susan looked at Will sadly. I'm sorry, Will. I should have asked for your help with the cars. Will smiled. It's okay, Susan. I'm just glad that you're alright. And also, I'm glad that you're part of the railway now. Susan smiled and happy that she is now part of Sir Topham Hatt's railway.